Hey everybody, as always, it's Armand Azarian. I'm coming at you with episode 2 of our post-fight watch-along. Unfortunately, because of some scheduling conflicts, I am both uploading this a day or two maybe late and without Treyvon. We'll get him on in every other episode of pretty much everything we do that includes him. It's just in this specific instance, I'll be watching these fights by myself. The level of insight might be watered down some without you, buddy. We miss you, Treyvon. You're the king. But yeah, let's get right into it. So all of these fights will be accessible probably on the UFC's. I actually kind of deciding which ones I'm going to watch as I go on. The links will be in the description. Only legal means. How you find other fights in the future is up to you, but we're going to try and find fights that are all on YouTube and have been there for a while, or mainly that are uploaded by UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship's YouTube channel itself. But the first one I'm going to watch, as we're going to try and keep it pertinent to this card, or to the upcoming cards, let's just watch Alvarez versus McGregor. So I'm going to go to 0-0, and then I'm going to push play. And we'll use this walkout time. It looks like there's there's about 20, 30 seconds until the fight begins. But yeah, I'm at 0-0 for the video, and I'm going to push play. And we're going to get started, and we're going to watch together on go or play. So 3, 2, 1, play. Okay. Presented by Devour Frozen Foods, which is interesting. It's strange. Just when I was thinking about this, Alvarez actually, definitely looks like the smaller guy of the two. Let me see if this looks better. Who knows? Yeah, I think it does. Okay, sorry, I'm not at all a cinematographer, so fucking with light settings is difficult. Okay. You ready, fighter? You ready? Let's get it on. And so they come out in open stances as always. I think one of the few good things that Alvarez did early and often was kicking out that lead leg with the inside leg kick. I cannot I think who did that? Junior Dos Santos did that against Ngannou, and it worked. You're gonna kick him out of position. And it's just a really good idea. And also, you see early on, these feints are getting small reactions out of Conor. Alvarez keeps, jerking his head and, jab feinting with his, almost right there, what he's doing, he does this. He's feinting with the rear side. So it's like he's feinting with a right straight. But his jab feints were kind of getting Conor to spring backwards off like that early on. But I'll explain, why it became less and less convincing to Conor over time. And how brilliant this type of fighting is from Conor. You see Alvarez checking the lead hand of McGregor. And one thing that McGregor does, see, this was ridiculous. Oh, my dogs. Watching Conor burst into, bursting into range with overhands on, with an open side, or any strike against Conor like that is just not, his entire game plan here, as you can see, he's an offensive counter striker. So his plan is to back you into a corner, right? With to physically use his presence as pressure here. So once you're backed into a corner, you're you're there to be hit because you hit the fence, and then he corners you and starts throwing straight punches to your face, like he did against Mendes, teeps to your stomach and things like that. And then as you angle off, he's going to look for the big left hand. Or he wants you to charge into range like that. And the antidote, the superpower way of dealing with a counterpuncher, well, one of them, but one of the, what do you do with the counterpuncher? You feint effectively. And Anderson Silva was not a comprehensive counter striker. He oh my god, that's beautiful. And this is actually an interesting idea from Alvarez here to invert, because in this situation, this is dangerous, right? Because you're now putting your head in line. If you get your head between the legs, then it's a better situation. Like here, he's framing against the left arm of McGregor, and he's got his head between his legs. It's actually a kind of decent idea against the cage. It was dangerous when his head wasn't between the legs because he's lining himself up for McGregor's left elbow. Like here, just in side control again, and now he's suffering the consequences. But trying to invert and put his head between Conor's legs, specifically up against the fence, is kind of smart because you're basically putting your thighs and your ass between him and you. Now Conor's left knee is pinned to the mat between, or wedging Alvarez's head between it and the fence, and like Alvarez is like using good movements to get away. I mean, I like that. I like that. So it's like an interesting use of inversions to put like the whole lower half of your body between the opponent's ground and pounding like clubs and your face. It's pretty smart. Like this is actually interesting to see because like usually Alvarez is really effective against the cage. I'm surprised he, but by effective against the cage, I mean like he's effective at moving side to side and then like juking you out basically, like using direction changes to go one way and then quickly to the next, and then as you commit to that direction, he recommits to the the direction he was moving toward in the beginning, and then he's back to the center of the octagon. Like he tends to do better or have more technical performances when he's being pressured, which I guess is what part of makes it so brilliant. But like I like that McGregor will do this thing where he's not really gonna jab with you much, but he does probe with the lead hand. Like look, like and that actually is what makes his takedown defense so effective too. Like if you run in, he's already got that lead hand to frame against you or to pose. Like look, he's taking like I guess that's why the jab feints aren't working as much for Alvarez in a way because his lead hand is being checked, and every time he comes into range, he's just getting clocked with that left straight. I would go back to these inside leg kicks. I mean, see, like those feints are kind of working, but they're not really convincing because you have to give when you feint, okay, you have to give people a reason to respect your feinting, right? Like when Adesanya feints, that for one, it's so convincing just because of the similarity between. I like Alvarez kicking to the open side. I mean, playing that game with McGregor is good, and honestly, I wasn't playing that like what I would have done after I threw a kick, so because Connor's guard is going to get up, yes, I would have thrown a kick up to the head and then burst into range with like a right hook or something like that. Because McGregor's not going to be in position to spring backwards and throw if his hands are up here. I mean, he might, but it's just a good way for Alvarez to close range. Like it's way better than him just charging forward with an overhand right or a right straight, right? Like here, look, he charges forward, and of course McGregor's going to fade away and catch you twice. So like there's like effect like McGregor does it really well. When McGregor won, especially early in his career, when he'd want to close distance, what he would do is he'd like throw a bunch of lead leg side kicks, and then after picking up his lead leg to throw another lead leg side kick, he would throw a jumping switch kick. So it'd be lead leg or his right leg would come up, and then he'd switch into a left roundhouse while he was jumping, like leaping through that distance. Or it'd be a jumping a double front kick, as like I called it in American karate, like a jumping front kick. And like now he's in range, right? Like those are effective ways at closing distance. Alvarez here is just if you really want to close distance against McGregor, like feinting is obviously going to work, and it was working in the early going. But as we were talking about, like he's not giving McGregor any reason to respect his feinting. Adesanya, the threat is so tangible. A like look or B, but A, as I was saying earlier, the feints just bear such a striking resemblance to his actual like punches that you don't know what's coming, and the thread of his attacks are like he's not just like chapping, he's hip feinting, he's kicking at your leg, he's kicking to your body, and so like whenever you're being feinted on, you're like worrying about all the threats. Whereas Alvarez is just kind of doing a jab feint, and then he's not really giving McGregor a reason to like need to block or move out of the way. Like why? Because like the exactly when he commits to range, it's just like these overhands. So feinting is not working for him. So he does adjust in this run a little bit. What I would do more of is like intelligent ways of closing distance. Like there, that feint kind of worked. You can see McGregor backing up. That would work, but and he would need to come up and like start hitting. What I would honestly do is like throw more inside leg kicks, throw more leg kicks, and then burst into range. Or excuse me, more body kicks and burst into range and like work like punches from there, like work combinations off the rip, and then quickly get out. But like you can see McGregor, this is like probably the most focused performance. This is not the same thing he did against Nurmagomedov. It's not. Even though I do not like McGregor as a person, nor do I think the best McGregor beats the best Nurmagomedov. This would have just upped his chances, right? I mean, one thing you could do when you're fighting a Khabib is definitely back him up and like get him. It buys you time, but this is not what he did against Khabib. There's that lovely corkscrew uppercut, and then Alvarez kind of catches him off with it, kind of copying him. I don't really know why that worked. Like, oh my god, I just don't like him swinging like that. I really don't like him swinging like that. wildly at McGregor's head that will not work, especially in rounds 1 and 2. Like he should, like honestly, if he could have feinted more and made those convincing and drawn that reaction, I don't know. Maybe I'm too married to the idea of feinting against Conor, but this to me isn't. Yeah, I don't know. I would have just kicked the body more, kicked the inside leg more. See, I don't like him changing off for the double here either because McGregor's base is so spread, right? And now, sorry, his base is so spread. Like his back leg keeps getting behind his lead leg, and so it's really hard to pick up a double. I would have picked up a single here or tried to, or come back with the high underhook, like the high left underhook, and use the head pin like Habib did so effectively. Even though McGregor didn't get taken down, who you don't want to be McGregor in those spots, especially if you want to wear him down. See, there's no reason not to kick the leg after feint. Like after that, after McGregor does that, I wish. See, this was just foolish. Like leaping in with an overhand right. I would think more like boom, get him out of position, and then as he comes back in, throw the inside leg kick. You're gonna kick him way out of position. And then once he's kicked out of position, you can start to counter more. Yuri Prohaska did this against. Excuse me, Volkan Ozdemir does this against Yuri Prohaska, where he throws an inside leg kick. He forces like this. If Connor's standing this way, right, because it's southpaw, and you kick a guy's leg out of position hard enough to where, like as you saw, his leg went this way. I mean, he almost fell with it, right? So you kick his leg out of position, right? Let's say I throw the inside leg kick and your leg's out of position. As you're then switching stances, I can land my hook, right? I can land, especially if I retract the leg, I can land my left hook. But no, Alvarez just leaps into range here. And it's so dangerous to do that against Conor, but he's so good at convincing people to do that because of this pressure he applies. And he's always going to apply pressure. He's always he's a pressure fighter in one of two ways. Either very much like taking the center of the octagon, and well, he's always running out to the center of the octagon, but coming forward like he did against Habib, where he just walked him down. That's the thing that happens. Like Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor won, where he's just in your face throwing punches, or not punches, but like working his game, or this more patient counter offensive counter fighter where he's using his presence to pressure you, but it's not so much to put shots on you the whole time. Yes, he's throwing front kicks and he's throwing legs and he's checking your lead hand and stuff like that, but this type of use of presence to pressure is simply, it's playing with not the sliders. It's like playing with the threats. You know what I'm saying? It's using his presence to back you up, to set up the traps, or like set up the threats of these things coming, and then convince you to do one of two things: to back up and hit you, or to come in so he can counter. You know what I'm saying? He's using his presence, not necessarily like his actual offense in this more patient way. It's a subtler type of counter punching offense, and it's the best type of Conor we've seen. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see this Conor fight Poirier. We're done with that one for now. Okay, the next fight we're gonna watch is actually on UFC Espanol. It's UFC 256 free fight, Oliveira versus Lee. I'm gonna put the link to that in the description, and I'm gonna start at actually. Let me see if we're gonna start at 0-0. I really don't want to watch the fucking walk. Okay, yeah, 0-0 of the video. 3, 2, 1, play. You're not touching gloves? Okay. Kevin Lee is like a weird fighter. Like he gets on my nerves. Like he kind of like gives up in fights, and I don't even get like he gets he gets tired, and he seems to get really discouraged. I don't know. He kind of does like a similar thing to Rose Namajunas. No, but like he gets discouraged. Like he goes for like really aggressive finishes, and he gets tired, and like looks like he gets really discouraged, but also he just like good. I don't know. He's not like great. It's like Treyvon. He's like that prospect who is not ever gonna be, who may not ever like. He's always gonna like people like Iaquinta might always have his number. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it better than that. Maybe they rushed him a little too fast. Anyway, we're watching Oliveira here. He's moving his head finally. When he first started in the sport, he would not move his head. He would just spam leg kicks, and he liked the tie clinch. That was a little later in his that was like one of the first striking developments of his, if I can remember correctly. But he would still get hit from there, kind of like how Silva would just grab onto the tie clinch and get hit. Anderson Silva. Love that Jack Frost hair. The jab is working for Oliveira. This was UFC in Brasilia, right? This was just before. Oh, I like that. I love that looking. He instantly goes for this is like reverse 50-50, it looks like. Caleb, you can correct me if you need to. No, that's just 50-50. Yeah. I guess like the outside, he's trying to switch to the 7-11 position, doesn't quite get it. So I just in like a random leg entanglement. Now this is a really strange position where he has Lee's body triangled in with the leg. Lee gets back down. He's trying to nope, not even knee slicing. He's getting knee reaped and kind of getting put in like a, what is this, reverse De La Hiva? That looks so bad for his knee. Oh my god, please spin out of that. Please spin out of that. Oh, calf slicer. Ow, almost, yes. I would rather have my back taken than lose my knee, to be honest. That's not a calf slicer. His knee looks like it's stuck. I'm having a hard time telling. Oh my god. yeah, I was gonna say he's gonna get put in like this really uncomfortable side control if he doesn't let go. Oliveira, the thing about Oliveira is like, especially early in his career, he would be really active off his back and then suddenly just drop off. Like his activity level would just plummet. And then guys like Paul Felder would stand over him and punch him in the face. But it seems like here, I think that actually did happen in this fight, but at least in the early going, this is really how you need to be as a bottom player. Another guy who's not really known, well, I know him because I'm a Caucasus junkie because of my dad's heritage, but Guram Kutateladze did the perfect thing when he got taken down by Mateusz Gamrot. Like, you need to be, stand, sweep, submit, yes, but your goal cannot just be one of them. And if it is one of them, it shouldn't be submit, right? It should be stand or sweep or some combination of both. Those can kind of work with each other. But notice how Oliveira is actually either going for submissions, working for scrambles, and ultimately trying to get into a dominant position with a sweep or stand off of it, right? Like, depending on his goals in the overall fight, like if he wants to strike with you or not, Nothing like when Khabib was taken down by Abel Trujillo, he spent no time doing the Jacare thing where he held Jack Hermanson in close guard and kept going for jiu-jitsu submissions. You need to be as active as possible and make it to where they are doing more work than you on top and would rather not be there anymore. He is not allowing Kevin Lee to settle down into anything. He goes for a triangle, doesn't work. He starts getting his guard passed. He switches to okay, this is so much fun here. The scrambles and transitions here are beautiful. He wants to get this crossface and start maybe get an underhook and start work. Yeah, so he didn't get the underhook. So now he has the wizard, but he's using his butterfly on the left side, and Lee gets down. I meant to say all fours. The thing is, he's not going to get the triangle by doing that, but what he's doing there is he's forcing Lee to posture up. So with that space, what he's been doing is underhooking one of the legs, kind of inverting on it into either a knee bar position or just going for a leg entanglement. There he's going to De La Hiva. Kevin Lee sits out. Needs to free that leg. There's a number of ways he can. There's a number of ways he can. Now, this is where you're having a hard time playing guard, is when your head is smushed up against the fence. This is where the guard meta isn't preferable when you want to start wall walking. But then people like Khabib and Usman and guys of those ilk are really masters at regrounding you from there. So I think it was Jack Slack who suggested this. Put your hand on the fence and push off. Yeah. That round ended. Kind of saved by the bell there. A little bit. I'm sure Oliveira would have found a way. That's beautiful. How did I miss that? Yeah, I don't this is where you don't want to be off of your back. You want a leg press there, but if your hips are stacked into your belly button, if your hips are folded over into your gut, it's kind of difficult to leg press there, especially if they're putting pressure on your ankles or your heels. Okay. Oliveira is really asserting himself in this fight. The spinning back fix is a little gimmicky, but it's not a bad idea because it loops around in the direction toward which Lee is circling. So it's like trying to catch him as he's circling and discourage him from going that way. Like any looping attack that's going to come toward Lee's right side, so the direction towards which he's circling, is going to be from Oliveira's lead side. And if so, that's going to Oliveira is pressuring, so he doesn't want Lee to circle away. So it's just one way to discourage him from moving. It's to cut him off. Also, his chin is like showing to be a lot better in this fight than and in like last fight against Tony Ferguson than it ever has in the past. Lee working that jab. I don't like it when people bring their rear hand in front, like across their face into like the closed side cheek to start palming at things. I don't like that. It exposes, like, I see a lot of people aren't experienced doing that. I usually doesn't like when you start doing this because of a jab to block a jab or like I don't know. It usually doesn't mean good things. But he's getting really pressured here. I love that leg kick. As he extends that leg, as Lee extends his arm to jab, he's just throwing a leg kick into that side. He's really just that uppercut is money because Lee keeps ducking his head down as he's throwing these things. And oh my god, that's beautiful. And he collar ties with the left arm and then a front kick. I mean, he's really just harassing Lee in all the different levels of on several different targets. He's jabbing. He's throwing leg kicks. Over, like he's throwing like straight, like just like punches, like straight punches and overhands. He's throwing knees. He's throwing leg kicks, teeps as well, and then he's going like going for that uppercut. Lee's kind of got a Chael Sonnen problem in people's guards. He does tend to get stuck in arm bars and shit he shouldn't get stuck in. Imagine if that were finished. I think didn't he do something similar to Tony Ferguson? Gorgeous, but like now he pushes away and he's going to use it to get up. Maybe not. Hard Wizard. Lee might have this though. Nope, he doesn't. Lee needs to probably let that go. No, he got it. I mean, he was just firing off at all levels. I mean, excuse me. Oliveira was just firing off on all levels against Kevin Lee. By all levels, I mean like he was not hunting for one particular target on Lee's body. I mean, he was kicking the legs. He's throwing uppercuts to the face. He's headhunting in that, not headhunting, but he's, the head and the face are one target. But when Lee goes down, he's hitting the top of his face. He's hitting the top of the front of his face and the top of his head. And then, he's throwing knees. He's throwing leg kicks. He's teeping the body. And just standing in front of him. Here's a lockdown. I love the lockdown, but you cannot get complacent here. Like, this is kind of textbook Oliveira getting complacent. Alright, let me up now. Okay, like, Lee needs to start trying to work something here. If he can maintain both underhooks or some kind of like... Okay, so when you have someone down like this, doesn't matter how you do it. You can use body lock, crossface underhook, double unders, but you need to keep their hips flat to the mat. You don't want to let Oliveira get to a hip here. And then you can work to pass his half guard and get inside, like to side control or to full mount. I would go for the Sao Paulo pass right now if I were Kevin Lee. Hard crossface, head to the other side, take the inside of my free leg, push down on Oliveira's thigh, and use it to free my trap leg, and then like slide right into mount. And if you can't and he starts butterflying, then like hip switch and like use a knee slice to get over to side control and maintain top control like that. But here Lee is really just buying out the time. He's not really doing anything. And like you can stay in side control and do things. Like there's like effective ways to remain in side control, but he's not really doing anything. He's just kind of stalling. Yeah, that was bound to happen. Trying to knee reap. That's interesting to throw up kicks from there. I think he's trying to... Okay, he was trying to hook the inside leg, or the far side leg of Kevin Lee with his right leg, like his right instep. That's interesting. He's trying to... If I'm... It's a very fascinating way to approach this game by Oliveira here. I mean, look at this. I mean, uppercuts are just gorgeous as Lee extends both of his arms. That slot underneath both elbows is just right there. The front kick, that wasn't even a teep. My bad. That was right to the chin. Like chest, chin area. That was beautiful. And the composure, too. And he's always kind of been like he's never been like an evasive type of fighter. But, I mean, that was just gorgeous. He's standing his ground in these fights, and it's really nice. He's being more defensively responsible as well. Now he's just going back to old Kevin Lee where he started. And this was the mistake. That was beautiful. Oh, this was so fucking annoying. Oliveira's just smiling, going, "What do you say? Let go." You definitely tapped. Don't know what that was about. That was weird. I remember watching that and thinking that was really weird. You know what we're gonna call an episode, guys. Thanks for watching. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, give us suggestions, give us who you think is gonna win in the upcoming card between Cater and Holloway. We're looking forward to that. We can't wait to review it with you guys, and love you all. Have a great one. Goodbye.